that's hot. Hi guys, my name is Louise, I'm an artist, and today a slightly more off-topic topic for my channel, and yet still not. I think it might actually be very relevant to my fellow artists and creators out there. That topic is sensitivity, being sensitive, being a highly sensitive person, an HSP. I mean, just those words, they have so many connotations. Let's talk about what sensitivity really is and what it isn't, what it feels like, how to know if you're a highly sensitive person, and how to deal with it. I'll also tell you about how I realized that I was a highly sensitive person and how that has impacted and shaped my life, because it has. Big time. This topic is something that I have talked about and written about a lot previously in my life. I used to run a whole business around this topic, a blog, and I even wrote a book about this, about being a highly sensitive, creative entrepreneur. So this is something very close to my heart and something that I want to talk more about on this channel because I think it's relevant. A lot of artists and creators are also highly sensitive. I think that a lot of you guys might really resonate with a lot of the things that I'm going to talk about in this video. So let's just get into it. What is this thing? What does it actually mean to be highly sensitive? This word, highly sensitive, and the highly sensitive person was coined by a researcher and psychologist named Dr. Elaine Aron in the early 90s. She wrote the book about it and several other books too. She also created like the official self-test. That's how most of us HSPs came to realize that we were HSPs, and I'll link that test in the description, of course. High sensitivity is not a disorder, it's not a handicap, and it's not a personality type. It's actually a genetic trait. It's something you're born with. You are born with a more sensitive nervous system that picks up a lot more information from your surroundings and processes that information more deeply. So it's twofold. You perceive more from your surroundings, from other people, and you experience that information more strongly. It's estimated that about 20% of all human beings, and animals too actually, have this trait. And there is probably an evolutionary function behind it. Having a certain percentage of the tribe be more perceptive, more alert, is going to help the whole community. Just like having a certain amount of natural leaders or natural caretakers is going to help the community. Diversity is a good thing. I'm so distracted by all the birds. There was a blue tit just hovering right there for a few seconds. Okay, where was I? Focus, Louise. Don't look at the birds. Focus. Sensitivity is a spectrum, and it's something that will be experienced very differently in different people. My particular flavor or brand of sensitivity might not be the same as your particular flavor. You might be sensitive to certain things and not others, while for me it might be the complete opposite. So it's highly individual. But there are also a lot of commonalities, of course, which I'll get into in a bit. Both introverts and extroverts can be highly sensitive, but it's estimated that about 70% of highly sensitive people are also introverted, more on the introverted side. And by introversion, I don't mean shyness or awkwardness or being completely not interested in other people. The definition that I subscribe to is that introversion is simply feeling drained by social interaction and needing to recharge by being alone. And this is something that is shared by that 30% of extroverted highly sensitives. They are people who are very much drawn to social experiences and, seeking out other people, being social. But since they are processing those experiences so much deeply, they also need a lot of recharge time. So what does it feel like to be highly sensitive? Well, I have no idea what it's like to not be sensitive. I mean, I have very limited references to compare my experience with. It took me many years to realize that I was more sensitive than other people. I mean, I always felt different growing up. But I guess that's all of us, right? Everyone feels special, and everyone is special, and at the same time, maybe not. I think we all have a lot more in common than we think. I realized that I was highly sensitive in my late 20s, I think it was. I don't remember the exact circumstances of it. I probably just stumbled on an article online and deeply resonated with it, and from there, I guess I found the self-test that I mentioned earlier, Elaine Aron's self-test, and I took that test and scored really high on it. That kind of made everything fall into place for me. Why I struggled so much with social events and parties and making friends and networking. Why I felt extremely drained and almost panicked about commuting, especially in rush hour. Very anxious around crowds in general. Even if it was people that I knew and felt safe around, just too many people in a room or area drains my batteries really quickly. And also why I had so much trouble sticking to a regular 9-to-5 job, being in an office, being around other people, going to the lunchroom, sitting in meetings, all of these things that other people seem to have no issue with. And a lot of little things like fluorescent lighting could almost make me feel physically ill. Perfumes, strong smells, loud noises, the way my clothes fit and feel. Specific types of music. I love music. I'm musically schooled, like from a very early age. I listen to a wide range of different genres, but I'm very sensitive to different elements of music. Like if something's out of tune or too much of a major scale happy vibe. I can't stand opera music, for example. I listen to a lot of metal and like really hardcore intense music, but I can't stand opera because it's just way too intense for me. A lot of classical music just almost gives me panic attacks because it's too intense. Anyways, I guess those are the major traits of my sensitivity. Like I said, this is just my experience. Yours might be completely different, but there are some commonalities that a lot of us highly sensitive people share in some capacity. We're highly emotional. We might be easily moved to tears or to laughter or fear and anxiety. Although not all of us show these emotions on the outside. So for example, a lot of men are highly sensitive, and yet men are kind of more conditioned to not display their emotions as openly. We are easily overwhelmed by external stimuli like loud noises or harsh lighting, strong smells, and also to internal stimuli like emotions and ideas and stories. We tend to be very compassionate. A lot of us consider ourselves to be empaths, being highly receptive to other people's emotions to the point that they almost can feel like our own emotions sometimes, which can be exhausting. We are often creative, have very active imaginations, and we often seek out creative hobbies or careers. We are good listeners, and we tend to be careful in our communication, soft-spoken, really deliberate in the way we express ourselves. We can be more prone to anxiety. We can be shy, but we can also be really attention and thrill-seeking, and Elaine Aron actually has a name for that. High sensation seeker or high sensation seeking, HSP. That's a mouthful. And I actually very much resonate with that. We are more sensitive to stress and pressure. We burn out easily. So those are a few of the common traits. If you strongly resonate with a lot of the things that I've just said, chances are you are a highly sensitive person. Hi, Great Tit. Hi. You're distracting me right now. So like I said, realizing that I was a highly sensitive person really made a lot of things click for me. It made me not feel as alone and weird and broken. It made me accept myself more, accept my limitations, but also, the upsides to being highly sensitive. There are upsides to it, like my curiosity, my creativity, my imagination, my ability to get along with and connect with a lot of different types of people, my ability to experience the world more deeply through my senses, being able to really get so immersed in stories or video games or books that I really feel like I'm there. I'm very easily transported, into other worlds. I mean, that's something that I take for granted, and I kind of have always thought that other people feel the same way, but I've learned that no, they don't, and a lot of people will actually envy you for that. So there are joys and strengths to being highly sensitive, and we need to appreciate those aspects more. We need to find our own way to utilize them, because we live in a world that's very insensitive, that's full of violence and stress and hate and things to be afraid of. And our specific qualities are very much undervalued in our society. We're not really sought after. We're appreciated on the job market or in most jobs. We are often misunderstood by family and friends and strangers alike, being called names, being told to speak up, be more assertive, not be such a wuss, or not be such a diva, or whatever. There's a lot of sensitivity bashing going on in the world, so it's not easy. But I don't believe in self-victimization, feeling sorry for ourselves and demanding that other people understand our suffering. We all have our crosses to bear. We all have our own personal challenges. No one can really understand what someone else is going through. Self-pity and self-victimization is just not going to help anyone. And it's not going to make you feel any better about yourself. And so my advice to you, if you've recently realized that you're highly sensitive and you're suffering in some ways, is this: don't let this limit you. Don't let it be a reason for you to not try or to give up. Yes, you might be at a real disadvantage right now because of your sensitivity. You might be in a job or in college or any other situation where you feel like an alien from outer space and like no one gets you and like you have no skin, everything just hits you so hard. And I know what that feels like. I've been there many times. I know how much you can question yourself and hate yourself. But please know that you are not damaged. There's nothing wrong with you. You are not any less capable or valuable than anyone else. You are just different. And you are at a disadvantage in this particular situation. But there are things that you can do about that. Your sensitivity does not have to feel like this Achilles heel. You can actually design your life in a way that makes your sensitivity a strength and an asset, rather than putting up with a life where you're just constantly awkward and at a disadvantage. For example, I realized quite early on in my life that I would never be at an advantage working for someone else. I needed to do my own thing, to be my own boss, so that I could have more control over what I did and how and when and why I worked, so that I could amplify the good aspects of my sensitivity and limit the stuff that drained me or that I just sucked at. It's been a long and difficult journey, as self-employment and building a business always is. But for me, I much prefer that to the alternative. If I had not been aware of this trait in myself, I might have still tried my hardest to make employment work for me and just constantly feeling stressed out and, behind and at a disadvantage and like an underdog for the rest of my life. You have a choice, you have options, you are in control of your life, and you are not alone. Oh, there's so much more to say about this, but I feel like I have to pause here for now. I would love to know if this is something that you want more of. If you want more videos on how to manage your life as a highly sensitive person, how to cope with challenges and difficulties and criticism and overwhelm, and how to design a life that plays to your strengths as a sensitive person, let me know in the comments if you want that, and if you have suggestions for particular topics that you want me to talk about. If you enjoyed this video, consider hitting the like button, because it helps YouTube to show my videos to more people. It helps my channel grow and it makes me really happy. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in another video.